Hey guys, Jake from Sharp. Today we're taking a look at patinas. Now, we're not going to act like we're experts on force patinas, so today we're going to try 3 different kinds and we're going to explore them with you. We're going to try a coffee patina, a sauerkraut patina, and a mustard patina, and we're going to compare it against a naturally formed patina. Motorcycle. So, what is a patina? A patina acts as a protective barrier on the outside of your carbon steel knife to help resist against rust. In our opinion, they also look really cool, and it's one of the best parts of owning a carbon steel knife, that they change with you as you cook with it. Eventually they will darken over time, and you can clean them off and start over, and it's personally my favorite part of carbon steel knives. Most ingredients that come into contact with your knife are going to be reactive, and the colors can change anywhere from blues, greens, purples, sometimes even yellows and oranges. Over time, the patina does tend to darken, so enjoy them while they last, and when you force a patina, they almost always start out darker, more towards the gray side. Over time, your knife will naturally form a patina just from coming into contact with ingredients and water and the air, but we know that a lot of people like to force patinas. Like we said, most forced patinas do tend to run on the darker side. We find this looks really nice on Damascus knives or stainless clad carbon knives to get a really dramatic, what's the word I'm looking here? Contrast. A lot of the time when people force patinas, it's when they first get their brand new carbon steel knife and they're really worried that it's going to rust because it does make it more resistant. Now, with that being said, the patina looks a little bit different depending on what you use. You can put some cool patterns in it if you use mustard and the sauerkraut, the way that you lay it across the blade. So we're going to have fun with that and see what we can achieve. All right, so here's a look at the knives before. Unfortunately, we only had 2 of the Nishiji in the Peti and we have 1 Magaki. That being said, we scrubbed the hell out of both of them. They're both oil and lacquer free and they should react pretty similarly. And then this is a look at the Mazaki before. Has a nice Kasumi on it. If I'm being completely honest, I am the most excited for this one, and I will say that naturally formed patinas, while they take longer, are known to be more resilient to rust. One of the ways that you can set yourself up for success is making sure that your knife is really, really clean. A lot of the time with ironclad knives, when you first get them, they'll have a coating of oil so they don't rust during the shipping and storage, or they might even have a very thin lacquer on them. So you can clean this off a couple ways. Usually rubbing alcohol works. We didn't have any of that, so we just used a scoring pad, an old beat up one that was a little bit less abrasive with some dish soap. That worked great. You can also use fine steel wool or really fine grit sandpaper. Again, if this is a high polished knife, it's gonna mess up your finish a little bit, but with the patina, you tend not to notice that too much. Sorry, baby. So we're gonna start with our natural patina. For this, we're gonna be using a Mazaki Magaki 240mm Ryoto. This guy's Shirogami number 1 with an iron cladding. These guys are pretty reactive, but they tend to get a lot of nice colors. With these guys, I see a lot of blues and purples. So to start this out, we're gonna be making a shrimp and tilapia ceviche. We're gonna be going through the protein, which I find is really, really great for those blues and greens. And then we're gonna be going through some more acidic ingredients, which you might find actually clean off your patina if you're not quick to wipe them down. We have some red onions, some limes, some Fresno chilies, some cilantro. And then we're gonna continue to use this knife for about a week and see where it goes. So we're going to start with the forced patinas now. Depending on the solution that you're using and the look that you're going for, how dark or how strong you want that resistant coating to be, you can leave these on from anywhere from 3 hours to overnight. When we do them, we're going to check every few hours and see how things are looking and then reapply and go from there so we can get a good idea of how long we want to leave them for the look we're going for. For the first one, we're going to be using mustard. For mustard, we're going to try a thin, even coat across the entire length of the blade, and we're going to check it every 3 hours and see how that looks. For our next option, we are going to try sauerkraut. Now sauerkraut, we're going to try to be a little bit more artistic, and we're going to lay it down with some tweezers and try to make a cross-hatch pattern. We're going to check this one every 2 hours and see how that's looking, and then reapply if necessary. For our last forced patina, we're going to be trying the coffee. So when we're doing our coffee patina, it's important to make sure that the coffee is strong enough. We tried this a couple times before and we didn't have great results. We just got some drip coffee from one of our neighbors, True Shot down the street. Fantastic coffee, but it wasn't acidic enough and it did kind of just make the knife rust. So like we said earlier, we have 1 part coffee to 4 parts water. Pretty strong. We're gonna leave this in. This is an easy one to wipe off and take in and out. So we're gonna check this one every hour or 2 hours and see how it's looking. And we'll go from there. We'll see you then. So we checked these guys at 2 and 3 hours. They weren't quite as dark as we were hoping. We reapplied the acids and let them go overnight this time.
The best ones?
We also found that the coarse steels weren't building patinas as quickly as the iron cladding was. This is what they looked like with the mustard up top, the sauerkraut in the middle, and the coffee at the bottom. We're going to reapply and leave these guys on for quite some time, and we jacked up our coffee mixture with the rest of the instant coffee.
Black Death.
We'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, so here we are after leaving them again overnight. We can see right away that the patinas are much darker this time, and while we're starting to see some discoloration on the coarse steels, it's still not super even. We gave them a quick clean off with some water and a soft sponge, and this is what they looked like. Some pretty dramatic changes here, but we knew that we would have to clean them further or this would come off in the food. So after a quick trip to the sink with a scoring pad, this is what we were left with. Firstly, with the coffee, after being cleaned up, this was the least resistant of the patinas and left a surprisingly mild finish for how dark it was at first. Next, we have the mustard patina, which I honestly thought was going to come completely off with the scoring pad, but it left some clearly defined lines. We've come to the conclusion that if you're going for patterns, mustard is the way to go. Lastly, we have the sauerkraut, which is our collective favorite between the three of us. Well, it resembled rust at first and had us worried, but after we cleaned it off with the pads, it was the most resilient of the bunch and left the most solid coating evenly across the blade. So, things got a little mixed up at the shop, and we never got to use the Mizaki. However, we have a comparable white steel ironclad Nikiri here that we've used a few times. You can see that the patina is considerably different looking and shows off a lot of different colors, which will change depending on the kind of stuff you're cutting. We certainly have more research for part 2 of forced patinas, but for now, I'll be sticking to natural patinas. So there you have it, guys. So we learned that forced patinas runs a little bit deeper than we thought it did. So expect part 2 of this video coming up after we do a little bit more research. If you have any more tips or tricks regarding forced patinas, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe for more knife-related content. Until next time, stay sharp. I'm Gage now.
You're a natural, Jake.
Gage out, Jake in.